Alrighty, so first off, straight off the bat, I do need to apologize for the audio that you're going to have because I do need to film with my proper camera. I should probably present myself in front of the camera as well. Hello. Need to lift that, look a little bit more presentable than this. So a few things. Yeah. As is typical with me, I said that I would get right back on track and start streaming like all the time and like back in the day. Yeah. Essentially, there just really hasn't been too much to stream. I spent so much time last year streaming, the Sugar Skull inlay thing. So there was no point in me doing anything further, but now it is, the Sugar Skull is finished. The neck is fretted, need to do a good bit of sanding, and then this neck is going to get glued to the body. I could have streamed me setting up my brand new guitar. My first proper guitar for myself. This PRS Custom 24 Black Gold. And yeah, basically all I did with it was just set it up according to how I like my setups, which meant lowering the action quite a bit, making the trim not really blocking it off, but not making it functional, and then also putting in some foam to stop the springs from ringing while plugged into an amp. What else did I do? Polished it. Polished up the frets even more than they already were. Oiled up the fretboard, but in general, it was pretty damn good to go from the get-go. And man, I am so happy with that purchase because that guitar is unbelievable for that price point. Like seriously, I've had guitars coming to maintenance which are far more expensive than this one from other big brands, which were done very cheap. What was I saying? Yeah, they've been in much worse states than this one was. And I had to go in and look for mistakes on this. The setup was great. I mean, the setup was probably done by the shop, but frets were good, finish is great, just had very tiny things that normally you wouldn't really even think of to look at. There was nothing, like no big thing wrong with it, and that's pretty nuts. Anywho, I need to set up my bigger camera, so give me a sec. I might actually turn this around so you can see me do that. Yeah. So I have been filming stuff again. This is in the way. Slowly but surely starting to gain momentum again after the whole Simon Kicks project, because it did take quite a lot out of me. Usually for a new customer and a new build, I would say that a very simple guitar build would probably, this is what I use to get my focus set up. But yeah, usually like a very normal instrument, normal guitar, very standard stuff, I would say it takes about 3 months to a customer. And now I spent 3 months making 2 guitars in very rapid succession. And neither of them were exactly simple. So, pushed myself pretty hard to get those done up, but I do not regret a single moment. It was a fantastic experience, and the band was so supportive of everything I was doing, so I'm really happy that I got a chance to work with them. Something like that. Hey there, it is Tom Strickland on behalf of Indie Structural Productions once again, And now we're in for a little bit of a different kind of build this time around. So I got contacted about, God, it's many months ago, moons ago now, about making a guitar body for a ready-made neck. So I thought it would actually be a very interesting video to show you what goes on, or what are the steps for making a guitar body fit a ready-made neck. So I haven't gotten too far ahead into this project yet, but essentially I have very, very roughly just cut up a slab of ash, 2 pieces ready to go for some further shaping, and this is where we're going to pick things up from. So it's essentially just going to be an ash body, bolt-on neck. I'm going to make back plates out of this piece of ash. HSS configuration, going to have a Wilkinson trim on it as well. So should be good fun. This is going to be about 7/8 size, I believe, so a little bit smaller of a size, and I will show you a close-up to kind of show what's what. But I guess essentially the first place to start for this would be kind of laying everything out, making sure that you're getting everything in the right, correct positions. However, for this one, I need to figure out something a little bit different because the heel joint is a little bit different than you will get on a standard Strat. First of all, this is handmade, bird's eye maple neck, and I believe that roasted maple fretboard or some other wood might be. But yeah, there's 5 screws, and the heel goes on for a pretty good length, and it's been carved in a very specific way. So I want to match that to the heel joint on my body. So that is going to be the first thing that we figure out. So let's get cracking. I'm gonna do it with this piece of paper. Oh yeah, another thing you might notice that changed. I didn't turn off the camera, right? Another thing you might have noticed that has changed is the top of my desk. The previous person who owned the desk, who we bought this from, had put on this plastic white covering on it. And it was starting to look pretty horrible, so we were going to refinish it, or not refinish it, but reapply something over on top of this. I started removing the white plastic stuff off, and it was revealed to look like a very nice black, wooden finish. So why change that? It's not too bad. Yeah, it's weird that it has taken me this long to kind of figure out that I don't need to film every single part of each process. And I can kind of give myself a little bit of leeway here. And then I believe we can bring the camera in closer. It's really weird. Now there's like 3 cameras pointing at me at all times. Oh, sorry for nudging the camera there. I recently got this Nikon 55-200 lens from the basic narrow band, who found it at a charity shop for like €8. And I had use for it, so he was kind enough to give it to me in exchange for all the work I've done for him on various guitars. You've seen them on the channel. The Yamaha, like Ninja Bass, and the Hagstrom that was just in for a little while ago. There was the headstock repair for the there's been some other ones that I can't remember, but yeah, a few. Alright, so what we have here, just so I can get everything copied out onto, well, paper, as it were. There. I guess I didn't need the better pencil on just going to transfer this over to the body. There's not too much of a straight line here, so fortunately I have a good protractor to keep my line straight. Camera's off, but I'll keep talking to you guys, or anybody who wanders in. It's really nice to notice that now we're halfway through, more than halfway through 450. Or we're more than halfway through to my first 100 follows on Twitch, and that's pretty crazy. YouTube channel is doing fairly well, gaining up on 3K. The only thing that's really dragging quite a bit is my Instagram, but I need to post more. It's kind of my fault. Right. Okay. Well. It's a very strangely shaped neck pocket. And one is assuming that this is a 25.5-inch scale length. There's a lot of problem solving with doing something like this. It's not as straightforward as you'd think. Well, I mean, it is and it isn't. Doing things properly, it can get complicated. We have the center line on the... So essentially we have the center line on the body blank, and now we have put the drawn bit that we just did in the right place. Now I'm going to check that this actually is a 25.5-inch scale length. Alright, let's take 3.5. Yeah, let's check 12, which would be 32385. 323. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, so it is a 25.5-inch scale length. It is a Strat neck after all, so makes sense. Now, that would mean that our scale length would hit. Scale length would be there. So a very good protractor goes a long way for any and every possible use in guitar building. So that is where the bridge is going to sit, essentially. It doesn't give us a whole lot of room. Everything is fairly tightly packed in there, but we'll make it work. Cannot go past that line. Go grab the bridge and parts. Good to have on hand. So, like, you know. And I got the pickups, but they're, of course, standard sizes for everything. How much space? Because I usually want to have about 11 mil off from the saddles. So, what, 5 mil? The neck having such a flat back, it's a very squared off back. I'm just going to have that go into the first pickup pocket and have the single coil pretty much at the very, very base of the neck. That is the heel. So I could make this flat there, and that's flat there. Kind of looking at my own Strat, and there is a good bit that doesn't go all the way. And I mean, I have that much. Could be about that much too. Oh yeah, but it needs to go. Yeah, I don't want to change that too much. Okay, well, it's also a matter of I don't want to make a strict like Strat copy either. This is something close, but not quite. It's gonna have an arm chamfer as per telly. Back cars are gonna be very different. Anywho, so the neck pickup will be directly linked to the neck pocket. So I will go there. And then this will literally have to be the midway point between the two. So technically I could just do this. Yeah, internet died there for a second, sorry about that. 3 pickup. I was saying that weird. Man, doing 3 pickups is weird. It's just not something I'm used to. So it looks very cramped to me, but I guess that makes sense. Like I said, not especially thrilled with the heel joint, but it's so strange. Like, have a look at this. It's pretty weird. I can always carve away if there's extra. I can always carve away because it's a bolt-on, and I don't need to touch the original neck at all. So it's a plus. Square edge. Oh, yeah. Otherwise, essentially all I've been doing is just tidying up and reorganizing things because the Cyan Kicks projects kind of left everything a little bit in shambles. It was a good way for me to kind of reset everything at the workspace and just kind of get newfound energy into doing stuff. There we go. Lines brought over from the other side. Time to connect the two. Bam. Trying to find the center line in Ash is always a little bit of a challenge, but there we are. There. That was actually pretty easily done. Now, one thing I did notice is the Wilkinson bridge has completely different positioning for the 2 pins that hold it in place. $2 mil away from that, which is here, is where we'll have pin positions. Don't really have too far where they can go. Oh, I wonder if I could do it like this. 63 mil by the looks of it. 31.5 for the positions of bridge pins. Should be here and here. Good. Good, good, good. We have the Wilkinson bridge that I already showed off. It's that one. It was very hard to find, actually. You'd be surprised. Completely gold hardware. It's going to have a 3-way switch, volume, tone, usual. And it's going to have Spurzel locking tuners. The bridge is going to be a JB model humbucker. So a SH4 classic one. Then there's going to be the duck bucker. Yeah, duck bucker for the middle, and the neck is going to be a cool rail. So, yeah, that's a very, very cool set of pickups for this build. All right, so now we have everything kind of planned out. Back cavity as well, front cavity. The way I got those to match up and line up is just drawing on the front with the center line and scale length, then bring the scale length around to the back and get the back position that way as well. I have these lovely, lovely acrylic templates from TLC Guitar Goods. I really recommend you check them out. But yeah, that's essentially what we're going to be doing. So we're going to have the Wilkinson trim, then a humbucker and 2 single coils. Of course, the ferrules aren't going to be this large as they are here. I drew them at 15 mil just to kind of guide myself into not cutting off too much material and giving myself a little bit of leeway. And because it is a bolt-on neck, it's very easy for me to just rather remove material than try and add more. So I'm going to cut this really wide and then see how the neck fits and then fine adjust from there, which is usually a very good way to go, especially when doing this sort of stuff. It's very easy for you to kind of figure out how much to take away once you have a rough neck pocket that the neck fits in and fits snugly. Then you can start taking away all the stuff that's kind of poking out, as it were. Apart from that, the shape is just Strat, except a little bit smaller. I believe right there at the waist, a normal Strat is about 229, so 229 mil, and this one is at 221. So it's ever so slightly smaller as per the customer's request. It's always very nice when doing stuff like this. Doing stuff like this. And I could just say, off to the studio, and then next thing you know, in the video, I'm in the studio. It's going to be many days later. I don't believe I have any time this week to do that. Oh yeah, I do. I could go Saturday. Yes, I can go Saturday and do stuff. So, yeah. The really nice thing about guitar bodies is the fact that they are the easiest part of the process. The only thing that makes this kind of difficult is the fact that, you know, I need to fit it to a ready-made neck and make it work. I need to ask the customer about what he wants me to do with the neck because the fret ends are poking out quite a lot, and I would prefer to send this off as a nicely playing instrument. This neck was made by some other luthier somewhere. Don't know who. There's no markings, there's no nothing, no trace of any sort of maker stamp or anything. So, but it feels like, in general, the neck carve itself is like a really nice thin, I guess that's a D shape, feels really good. Nicely rounded edges as well. Now the whole vibe of this Strat is sort of vintagey. It's gonna have like a vintage black antique finish to it. And yeah, it's gonna be cool. Yeah, I wonder if I should try and take some sort of picture of it. I could put in all the hardware, like sort of try. It's funny because I keep on talking to the big camera because I haven't put the lens cap on it. There. That's going to be far less distracting for me. But yeah, maybe I could take a picture with everything kind of just plonked on top of it. Well, I ordered 3 of the same knob, but one of them's completely different color. Look at that. I ordered these from the same supplier. They're supposed to be the same color. Very much not the case. None of these are the same. What? Okay, I am gonna send a message to the supplier about this, because this is kind of ridiculous. Always check the stuff you buy. Alright. I'm gonna probably pack things. Oh, hey! Somebody came into the chat. Sorry, I completely missed the chat now. Sorry. Here. Nice shirt. I don't know anything about guitars. I scream in a microphone. Yeah, I do the same. That is what I do every single week. For a couple of hours, just go and scream into a microphone real hard. Or do you mean that you scream into a microphone as in you scream into a microphone from gaming and are screaming because of that? I scream into a microphone because I'm in a metal band. That's why. So that's why I automatically went to the whole, you know, vocalist thing. But yeah, nice of you to drop by. Nonetheless, you're kind of catching the tail end of this now. It was fairly quick and dirty stream today. If I had properly planned things out a little bit more, I would probably go over some more stuff, but can't really think of anything else to do. There's stuff that I need to film, but trying to stream and film at the same time is kind of Hey, Dread! I just scream because life can be like that sometimes. Yeah, life do be like that. Sometimes it do be like that. I fully endorse this statement. And nice to see you, man. Thanks for popping by. So essentially, this time around, not building something from scratch per se. I have a Strat neck made by some other luthier somewhere, and I'm making an ash body for it. I've been lurking here for a minute, just at a break from work. Ah, cool. Oh, my back. All right. Wonder what I can show you. I could technically, now that I have a little bit longer of a cable for this, I am going to show you some of the cleaning up that that I did and reorganizing. So first and foremost, now all of this stuff is nicely organized. So I got my drill and Dremel, essentially the power tools that I use at home. Got sandpaper, got all my masking tapes and stuff like that. Now in a rack, because there was a bunch of empty space here, so I want to fill that up somehow. So I put these dowels in to kind of hold things in place. I use this box a lot. It just has extra bits and bobs, washers, screws, pots, and electronic stuff. I use this quite a bit, and it was always in that cupboard over there, which is kind of hard to get to every now and then. So now it's a bit closer to the work table, which is nice. Screwdrivers for various things. But this is where I did the bulk of organizing. So my common use drawer, never mind this, I just got this in the mail, so I just plugged it in there because that's where the super glues is. Super glues are drill bits, small pieces like Allen keys, pens, pencils, paintbrushes, paints, and scalpel blades and scalpels, screwdrivers and hammers, nicely organized, rasps and files, my electronics drawer, which finally looks like less of a chaotic thing than it is usually. It's still chaos, but now it's like controlled chaos and everything's in like their own boxes so they don't spill out. Then chisels and planes. Got my saws and leveling beams, stuff like that. Basically neck work things. And this used to be jam-packed with way too much stuff, so I moved my clamps over here because now they're not in the way. Then over here we have, well, finishing products, epoxies, stains, fretboard conditioner stuff, and just basic maintenance things, polishing stuff, and anything to do with finishing. Underneath I have some more sandpaper. So doing that was actually real nice. I'll just show up close up of this while I'm here. Reorganizing everything just kind of reset my entire mood about things. Oh, and have a look at my new gorgeous guitar. It's a beauty. It is a beauty, and it sounds phenomenal. I did reorganize my other storage stuff as well, so that's most commonly what I use. That's all the bits and upcoming projects. Hardware stuff, it doesn't look organized now because I just pulled out a bunch of crap. All the drawings and plans, but that's not the nice side. This is the nice side. So I organized all my templates and small wood bits, all my big wood bits, big templates, and body templates, and work in progress stuff, as well as camera gear up there. I also did up my desk, which is great. I did this yesterday when I had some time, so new keyboard, just save some space on there. Put my audio stuff, so my Logic station is now ready. You ordered them pickups yet, or still too early for that? Oh, yeah. So the pickups. I will order them essentially once this is finished. Just more. I could order them now, but it would still take me a while up until I could actually have time to use them for anything. So I'll order them in the next batch of things I order, which will probably be the case for this and a few other small things. Then I'll order the pickups. And I'm wondering, depending on how things go, I will either put them in the Icarus, because it's getting them anyway, or I'll put them in my PRS, because it's going to get them anyway. Depending on how things go, I'll put them in either or. And yeah, then yeah, there's a good bit of work to be done, but yeah, this is not going to take too long to do. So I'm gonna do this and finish up the Sugar Skull single cut at roughly around the same time as this. And I have Johnny's base neck as well. That's kind of in progress. Amongst I'm counting those amongst 11 more projects for this year. It's going to be a busy year, but I really look forward to it. All the things that I have planned are lots of fun. It's going to be cool. Anywho, I think I'm gonna stop babbling for now, and yeah, go send emails about why I got sent 3 different knobs when I ordered one singular one, which was supposed to be 3 of the same. That makes sense. Anywho, I will stream again at some point. It's very hard for me to say when because I don't know. I stream when there's something to stream. Probably when I work on the Strat some more than likely. Or doing some staining stuff for the single cut. That's going to be pretty fun. I need to stain that, and I need to stain the Strat Body. So I guess a staining type video coming soon. Yeah. Anywho, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.